Hey guys, this is Jamie bringing you recovery-inspired hope. And today I have my very good friend, Amanda Ippilito with me. And we are over in Sandy Springs at Peers Empowering Peers.
Yay!
Yes, now Amanda, I just found out that she is from Sicily. Her family's from Sicily, just like mine. This is the third Italian person that I've met. Jake Bishop from Rising Up Recovery Radio in New York. He was the other one that I met. So I'm so excited. I'm building my Italian family here in Georgia. I'm really excited about that.
You'll have to come for dinner soon.
Oh, yes, for sure. Italians never turn down food. And if you ever turn down food from an Italian, it's extraordinarily rude.
You got that right. And my grandmother would explain that pretty quickly.
Yes,
Grandmama.
Absolutely. So, you are a CARES.
I am.
What cohort are you?
So I'm 2034.
Okay.
I went through CARES 20, and just a few things happened. I had to work in another field for a while and let my CUs drop. So I came back, did CARES 34, and
Nice.
haven't looked back.
Nice. Okay, great. And how long have you been working here?
I have been working here since May of last year. I started at the beginning of May in 2019.
Okay. And you also do some podcasts.
I do some podcasts. Let's not really talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, I listen to podcasts. To podcasts. I've done them with my church.
Right.
And with some other people. I don't have my own channel or anything like that.
But you speak out about your recovery.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I do a radio. It's online right now. Podcast with Billy Brew and Sully.
Okay.
And then I'm doing one actually later this week with North Atlanta Church of Christ. I've done a couple earlier this month or last month with North Atlanta regarding developmental disabilities.
Great.
And, the advocacy there.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your recovery. When did you decide to make a decision to come into recovery, and what kind of made you take that road?
Okay. Well, it's not my first time in recovery. I first came into the program, I guess, in 1990, and I kind of floated on the social part of the program at that time. And but as soon as I moved out of the area, I went to live in New York for a while. I just didn't find the same connection, and unfortunately, I didn't have the steps to lean on because I really hadn't done that part of the program. I didn't have a church that I was going to up there, so I pretty much left myself with no support. And that's what always happens.
Right.
You've got to feed your recovery every day. More recently, I had a kind of a mental situation, a mental breakdown, or just a bad time. I was working a great job. I was, doing very well. Everything looked great on the outside, but on the inside, I was really not doing well because I was thinking about everybody else and not myself. And so once again, meetings, contacts with people in recovery started going by the wayside. And just one day I just literally picked up the keys and said, I'm going to go smoke some crack.
Wow.
And, that was supposed to be a one-day thing.
Of course,
and,
of course.
2 years later, I found myself calling Mary Hall Freedom House. And I told them that I wanted to get in, maybe, this was right before Christmas. I told them I'd like to come in February.
Okay. Okay.
But, God had another plan for me. Because
Thank
I actually
God.
was
Yes.
praying for the willingness to stop what I was doing. And so I was at a traffic stop, and, they saw I was in violation of probation. So things got serious pretty fast.
Wow.
But
okay.
I still wanted to go to Mary Hall and, and really had to pray for that outcome. I was in the Henry County Jail, and, drug court would have been too expensive for me. Plus, I didn't live in Henry County,
Okay.
just a lot of different factors. But, fortunately, I think that first interview I did at Mary Hall, the lady remembered me when my mother called and asked if she could help me get an interview for an intake. So Several people stood up for me in court, and that was a great blessing. And, when I got to Mary Hall, I kind of thought, we're going to see what I can do differently this time. And this time I really followed all the directions.
Great.
And I also had peer support. So that made a big difference.
Peer support. So tell me why peer support made such a big difference. And also I want to talk to you a little bit about your spirituality as well.
Okay.
What part that plays.
Okay. So, ironically, I had been a member of North Atlanta Church of Christ for a number of years. When I relapsed, a lot of people were praying for me from that church and praying for me to come back. People called me, and there was so much pain in the feeling of letting people down. And then my pride kind of got in the way that, I can figure this out. I can work this out. It's just going to be another couple of weeks, but you know how it goes. The weeks turn into months and things get worse and worse. But, when I went to Mary Hall Freedom House, of course, that's one of the churches that they offer as a place to go. And when I came in, I was just surrounded by people who told me they had been praying for me for a number of years, and without ceasing, and just they all came and loved on me, and just a lot of that pride just fell away. It just fell away, and I realized that people could love me even though I made mistakes.
Yes. I love that.
The family. I knew eventually my family, I would have a relationship with them again.
Right.
But I didn't know if I was going to be able to have relationships with people that I had had relationships with in the past, because, our actions hurt people.
Absolutely, yes. And with the family thing, it's like that sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
Right.
For me, it was very slow with the family. It was very slow. But when it was over, it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Italian, coming from the traditional Italian family. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. My parents really have always been my biggest supporters. My sisters also. A lot of times people couldn't understand where I was at, but I would say my family members really made an effort to understand where I was at, and loved me till I could love myself.
And what advice would you give? Because I get this a lot of like family members, and they're like, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. So, when I speak to a family member and they're really at their wits' end, sometimes I just try to, I want them to understand how difficult it is to stop. I also want them to understand how badly the person wants to stop, even when they can't, and even when their actions don't show it.
Right.
And, if a person comes to me and says, I feel like we just have to give really tough love to this person. I say, well, you can give tough love. You can absolutely do that. But you could also support that person into getting into a program that's going to work for them, to help them by, transporting them to meetings. And, and that treatment isn't recovery. Treatment is a period of time where you're kind of immersed and getting a lot of information. The real recovery is when you graduate from that program, and now it's up to you. And if you don't have family support, then it can be really, really difficult.
Yes.
You may not have a vehicle, you may not have a license,
that recovery capital that we talk about.
Exactly,
yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So that really helps a family to know, yes, if this person is showing that they want to get better and they're making baby steps to getting better, supporting them in that bridge of time, and then just continuing to support them in other simple ways, Sometimes it's just the basic needs. Sometimes it's just the basic needs. A phone call, a meal, a ride.
Right. And what would you tell somebody who's considering recovery? What advice would you give to them?
I would say don't give up. Don't give up, and don't judge recovery based on just a couple of experiences that you may have. because you you may go to a group and you don't feel like you relate to anybody in that group.
Right.
But believe me, that's not the only group.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
I also tell people, try to show up a little bit early. If you move some chairs around, pass out some readings, someone's going to speak to you, and you're going to have that opportunity to have a connection.
Yes.
And it's so important to connect with people.
Right.
If you just get there right at the time in the meeting and leave immediately after, you're probably not going to see or feel that you're connecting anywhere. So I think that's really important. I usually tell people, try meeting 2 or 3 times. If it's not working for you, go to another meeting. Call someone.
Right.
Call someone. Say, hey, can you recommend a meeting?
Yes.
Ask someone, hey, do you know of a meeting where the people are a little bit older or a little bit younger?
Yes.
Or, a meeting where, people have longer term recovery.
Right. They always tell us the opposite of addiction is connection. Yes. And, I went through my whole, time that I was in my active addiction. It was like I felt so alone. I was always alone, and I was always depressed and felt isolated and could even feel alone if I was in a room full of people.
Exactly.
So it's like when I did finally come into recovery, and there were these strangers who I consider them angels, who just said, we're going to love you till you can love yourself. And we see something in you that you can't see for yourself. So, so when I finally found that group of people that I connected with, I didn't feel alone anymore. And I finally found some purpose, and began sharing my testimony, even at a very, I think I had 87 days sober when I started speaking at the crisis intervention unit,
Wow,
and I
brave.
was, just telling my story at 87 days sober, hey, you can do it, because I remember being at a meeting where, I saw a guy walk by talking about he had, 90 days sober, and I was just maybe a week in, and I thought, yeah, right. How do you do that?
How do you do that there? Yeah, right on. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it's so important to speak out about recovery, and
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that you live your recovery out loud. I mean, I always say when I lost my anonymity that my chains of guilt and shame were broken.
I have to agree with you there, Jamie. I understand the purpose of anonymity, and I've had a few workplace experiences where people have been like, oh, so you're in recovery. Hey, we think that this guy is drinking, you want to, and they want me to be the office police or something. So maybe in the workplace, it's sometimes that's not good, but at other times, especially, I have an opportunity to talk to people anywhere I'm at and just say, hey, I'm in recovery.
Yes.
I'm in recovery. We were at a Harley dealership, and they're giving away free beer, and the lady said, she asked me 3 times, I'm like, really, I don't drink at all. Thank you though. And when she asked me the 4th time, I said, I'm an alcoholic and I'm in recovery, so you don't have to ask me any more times. I'm not going to take this beer. But somebody else came over and was like, I'm so glad you said that. This is so annoying because I'm just trying to shop in here.
Right.
And, my husband's over there, I'm over here, and, I feel pressured to have the beer. We don't have to be pressured.
Right.
We don't have to be pressured.
Right.
There's no reason, I used to think it was normal. And for some people, who can drink with impunity, perhaps it is. But for me, it's just okay that I'm not able to drink like a lady.
Yes. Yes. I
Not
totally
able to
get
drink
that.
like a lady.
Yes.
So I've found that, being able to just, reach out to one person like that is so impactful. It really is. And you asked me about peer support earlier. And so one thing that was really different for me when I went to Mary Hall was, they used to do a lot of the CARES training there.
Okay.
So I was interested in what they were doing just because, I'm kind of a nosy person anyway.
Yeah.
And, when I started, finding out about it, and then they had a recovery messaging workshop for us, I realized, hey, I don't have to be anonymous. I don't have to be anonymous. I can say I'm in recovery in a positive
Right.
way.
Yes.
And it doesn't cause people to flip out or anything.
Right.
And I can just share with them what my recovery's done for me.
Yes. And I'll tell you, I'm in contact with a lot of people being like a business owner and in the community and working in the gyms and stuff. And every time like people find out that I'm in recovery, they're like, oh, my sister or my uncle or my friend's daughter, or, can you help me? Can you tell me how to do this? What do you think that I should do with this? And it's like, yes, it's like, I feel like when people come into recovery, they kind of disappear almost. It's like nobody sees us anymore.
Right.
They saw us when we were out there getting in trouble
Right.
and drinking bottles of tequila blacked out at the bar, right? That was me.
Yeah.
But not when we come into recovery, because then we just kind of blend in, right? Like, I'm over here shopping for groceries just like anybody else. I'm over here picking my kid up from school just like anyone else.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly. So it seems to me that there's a certain freedom too
Yes.
behind being able to say that I'm in recovery, because that allows me not to feel pressured. That allows me not to feel like something's wrong. Like if I say I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict, then people could have a negative connotation, and even coming out of my mouth, it feels a little bit negative in a more public setting. But by saying I'm a person in recovery, a person in long-term recovery, people understand that it's a way of life. And I think it's just a wonderful thing. And it is true, the more you live your recovery out loud,
Yes.
the better off you are. Oh, no, sorry.
It's okay.
I'll be back. Sorry. That went fast.
Yes. We're taking 2 minutes. Yes, I definitely have seen some amazing benefits to living my recovery out loud, for sure. It has definitely allowed me to be more empowered. It has allowed me to be able to move forward in my hopes and dreams. It has allowed me to really just change my whole life and be a positive influence on people that I have met, and people that want to know about recovery, and people that want to change their lives. So it's so important that we do speak out about our recovery, for sure. Not yet, but it's okay. We have a forgiving audience. Okay.
Got to start the meeting on time.
Right. Awesome. So, and tell me again your sobriety date.
My sobriety date is January 4th of 2011.
Awesome. Okay. And tell me what your position is, and tell me a little bit about Peers Empowering Peers.
Okay. Peers Empowering Peers is a recovery community organization, and we're located in Sandy Springs. We serve kind of this northern arc from Cobb County over. And so most of our participants are, this part of Fulton County, DeKalb County, and some folks from Marietta. And we have a great location as far as being close to several large recovery programs. So this is a real convenient place for them to come to meetings. We try to offer a different variety of meetings, codependency, double trouble,
Nice.
trauma, as well as several 12-step programs, HA, CA, and AA.
Wow, so super well-rounded. And this place, you guys, is fabulous. I mean, I got the grand tour of everything, and it's definitely just makes you feel at home, makes you feel comfortable in here. So I really recommend coming and checking this place out. And the whole well-rounded variety of meetings, you can't beat it.
Amen.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you guys so much. Amanda Ippilito from Peers Empowering Peers, hanging out here in Sandy Springs. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jamie Tall, for more recovery-inspired hope. And we will see you next time.